a social accountability initiative that seeks improved service delivery across the nation. It's a pleasure to have you on the program, Busayo.
Yeah, great to join in.
Yeah, fantastic. So, I mean, there's been so much going on since the outbreak of the pandemic right here in Nigeria. We've seen so many businesses, we've seen so many philanthropists and individuals donating money to the government and also equipment so that they can help in fighting the COVID-19. But is there a register to say, per se, that has a comprehensive list of everything that has been donated to the fight against COVID-19 in Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you, Matthias. Great to be on your show today. Currently, what we have is a situation where data, we call it data, information about people who have donated funds is really scattered. We don't have a single point where we can always go to get verified information and verified data. Now, at Connected Development, one of the ways we've been able to do this is to jump on probably the websites or the Twitter handles of various people who have donated funds, especially organizations and individuals, to actually see what has been donated. And the biggest challenge we currently have is the fact that we don't have a central pool where these funds are put in. So you begin to follow up with the CBN, you follow up with the Ministry of Finance, you follow up with the task force on COVID-19, and you just follow up on all of these guys just to ensure that you get reliable data to beat fake news, because we have discovered that a whole lot of people can just sit down and come up with very funny information, and if we run with those kind of information, we're going to lose track of focus on tracking these funds that has come in for COVID-19. It's just a major point out to the fact that we have still not gotten it right in terms of accountability as a country, and it's quite sad because we've hammered on these for a very long time, and when people begin to see that,
Busayo,
we hear on TV, we hear on radio, the funds are...
And I think that, I mean, speaking about accountability and transparency, I think that's where connected development comes in. So with all of this that we have on ground now, with all the information you've gathered from their websites, Twitter handles, and all of these places, how do you intend to track how effectively these donations and monies were spent?
Now, one of the first things we've done is to send out freedom of information requests to the various agencies of government who are actively playing in the space around COVID-19, the Federal Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of the NCDC. We've sent to the Humanitarian Ministry, and what we've done is just simple, to ask them to show to the public or to give a public account of what they have gotten and where those monies are supposed to go to, what is it supposed to be for. Now, what we've also done is to consistently follow up with them on Twitter. For those of them that are very active on Twitter, we've consistently tagged them to give us a breakdown. We've had little breakdown about the funds that has been given, but for me personally and for my organization, it's not comprehensive enough. What we need is to know how much is coming, how many people have redeemed their pledges, because I also know that it's a different thing for people to pledge for funds, and it's another thing for them to release the funds or send the funds to probably a single account. From the briefing we had today, we had that the government has set up various accounts in various banks, linked to the TSA. So we're going to be monitoring that process effectively. Now, what we're saying, how we're tracking this fund is not just having staff of Connected Development or Follow the Money track. We're saying everybody, every Nigerian should be able to wake up to this responsibility to track this fund. That's why we've been able to break down these funds into various states. So I know that donations has gone into states. States are releasing money. I know that in Kaduna, for example, there's a 500 million that's been released. We're following up on that fund clearly. And for every other state, that fund has been released either from the state government or fund or donations has come in. We're following up on this process to ensure, and it's quite simple. We're saying citizens would have to look out. I mean, look out for medical centers
let me just hold
you in your community as around you.
Yeah. But let me just hold you. I mean, I agree with that approach as well. That it's an everybody's problem. It's actually down to everybody to track and look at what's going on within their communities and also at the federal level. But speaking again about tracking the funds, we saw the minister not too long ago distributing 20,000 naira to some residents or some citizens of Nigeria. What is Code doing in terms of tracking where those funds are coming from and even how it's been disbursed?
Now, on the distribution of 20,000 naira around various communities in the country, first of all, we want to say that it is terrible, it is backward, it is archaic. Now, for me, particularly from where I come from, you cannot track funds like that. You can't track, except you begin to go from house to house and begin to ask them, how many of you received 20,000 naira from the government? Now, it's also important for us to know that there's a difference between what the government is doing with the 20,000, which is accumulated 4 months, of the cash transfer, the conditional cash transfer, which started sometimes in 2017. That's not the stimulus package. Now, that is still the conditional cash transfer that started in about 2017 across the country. Now, it's different from the stimulus package to cushion the effect of the shutdown on COVID-19. I think that's still a point where we've not been able to establish the difference between these funds. Now, that fund is supposed to be for the poorest of the poor, and I think that fund is that fund is supposed to be disbursed by the social register. The other guy was talking about, across the country. But that scheme has been for a while. That scheme has been for a while. Now, what they are doing is just paying 4 months together of 5,000 to make it 20,000. But in 2018, we had a grievance mechanism around this same distribution of funds or stipends to the vulnerable or the poorest of the poorest people in the society. And the truth of the matter is, there were a whole lot of problems. Now, if the government is sincere enough to pause and reflect on how it goes about its duties, or monitor and evaluate how it goes about its duties, we expected that from our reports in 2018, those changes would have been made by now. Now, what we're still having is still the same crude, opaque system of distributing money, which negates the social distancing policy of the current government. You've seen pictures, you've seen how people come out in clusters, and how many of
in
those
other words,
actually,
Busayo, you're not happy with the way the money is being distributed.
I am definitely not happy. Now, the truth of the matter is,
Okay.
we talked about BVN. Now, it's difficult.